Mimi na wewe tumemalizana. We are even now, right?
Takunipeleke kwa mamako. Kama yeye hataki kuniona basi mimi nataka kumuona.
Mimi pia nataka maisha mazuri. Teach me how to use it.
Uliniambia kwa kuna jambo napaswa kulijua. I'm listening.
No, Father, please, no. Nachotaka ni babako Father aje hapa kwa magoti.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News. I trust you're having a lovely Thursday so far. Well, here on Lunchtime News, we have a comprehensive bulletin lined up this afternoon. Our sign language interpreter is Lucy Maura. My name is Jackie Wambiru. And to kick us off, we'll cross over to Milimani, where the Law Society of Kenya elections are underway, where the IEBC is conducting the election, which is managed by the society's 7-member election board headed by Senior Counsel Jan Mohamed Zehrabanu. And our reporter Ben Troy is manning the ground and will give us more details. Troy?
Thank you so much, back at Broadcasting House. Good afternoon, Jackie Wambiru, and indeed to all our viewers. We're coming to you live from the Milimani Law Court grounds, where today is a big day for our learned friends, it being the day that they cast their ballot. Yes, indeed, the Law Society of Kenya, over 15,000 members, are expected to cast their vote today to elect new office bearers who will hold office till the year 2024. And indeed, we have been camping here since early morning when the polling station here at the Milimani Law Courts opened. And something that we can say a difference from the morning is that, as you can see, if my colleague Andrew Lugusa can pan to my left, you can see that we have started having some queues. Earlier on in the morning, we had it started out quite slowly, but it's slowly but surely picking up pace as a lot of lawyers had matters pending in court in the morning, but they have been allowed now to come and cast their votes. There are 9 ballot boxes, as you can see. The exercise being conducted by the IEBC, and earlier on we did speak to the Deputy Returning Officer here, and she did allude to the fact that the exercise did start on a slow pace, but as you can see now, we are slowly but surely picking up pace, no hitches whatsoever. And also in other high court stations around the country, the lawyers are making their informed choice today. We are also able to speak to some of the aspirants or contestants who were here earlier in the morning casting their ballot, saying that they want a transparent, they want an efficient Law Society of Kenya, free from all the wrangles that we have witnessed in the recent past since the ousting of the President Nelson Havi. Very quickly, Jackie, allow me to just point out some of the contestants seeking the topmost seat. We have the Nairobi branch chair, Eric Deuri, who is contesting for the presidency. His counterpart also is on the ballot. That is Matthew Nyabena, former LSK vice chair or vice president Caroline Kamende, former LSK council members Bernard Kipkoech and Omwanza Ombati are seeking the top seat. And of course, we had the chance to also talk to some of the other polling stations, and they say that the exercise is smooth. Right after we are done with this interview, we'll be crossing over to the Supreme Court, which is also another polling stations for the Nairobi people, and see how the sights and the sounds and how the voting and the exercise as a whole is going on. But something to point out is that despite so many wrangles that have dogged the once very powerful society, they have pledged, the new office bearers have pledged that they will streamline operations at the Law Society of Kenya to ensure that Kenyans, not only the lawyers, have been able to actually participate and also have an efficient and transparent society. Indeed, that is all we had from this side. We will be, of course, getting tabs with also the IEBC officials once the polling stations are closed to know exactly where we are headed to. But earlier on, as I had alluded to, is that speaking to IEBC, they want to complete the whole exercise and also the tallying exercise. They want to be concluded by the day end. By the close of business, we might be having new office bearers, and we will be right here to ensure that we keep you afloat with all the latest happening in the LSK elections. Back to you, Jackie.
Well, that was our reporter Ben Troy coming live from the Milimani Law Courts, where the Law Society of Kenya's election are underway. Remember, voting is undergoing across the country, and the posts on offer include that of President, Vice President, Council members representing various interests, and the Society's female representative to the Judicial Service Commission. Well, we shall be bringing you more details as we progress. For now, we move on. The government has scaled up relief food distribution in Kilifi County amidst the ravaging drought and escalated poverty in the region. The efforts are aimed at building community resilience and reducing the effects of drought in the county.
Speaking at Kauma Sub-County, government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna said that the affected people will receive foodstuff and monetary funds as the country expects to get back to normal when rains fall. He further stated that over 2.8 million people who are in dire need for food are set to benefit from the government's relief food program.
Ukame umekuwa mkali sana. Na kule kwa kuna ukame kwa kipindi kirefu na zaidi ya mwaka mmoja, mvua ilikuja kidogo na haitoshi. Ikawa kuna uhaba wa maji, lakini pia kuna uhaba wa chakula. Sio hapa Kauma peke yake ama hapa Kilifi peke yake, lakini ni sehemu nyingi za hapa nchini. Kwa jumla ni kaunti 23. Wale ambao wanahitaji kupewa msaada ni watu milioni 2.7 kuelekea 8.
Kilifi County Commissioner Kutwa Olaka said there had been no deaths related to the ongoing drought.
Kupitia ushirikiano wa washikadau wengi wakiongozwa na serikali kuu pamoja na serikali ya kaunti, mashirika yasiyo ya serikali pamoja na makampuni ya kibinafsi, serikali imeweza kuhakikisha kwamba hatujapoteza mtu hata mmoja kwa sababu ya njaa.
While applauding government efforts, Mary Konde, a beneficiary, urged government to continue giving relief aid to those affected until they can rely on their harvest.
Tunashukuru kwa ajili ya serikali yetu vile imetutambua kama wananchi, kutuletea msaada wa pesa zile za walemavu, mayatima na wale wazee ambao hawajiwezi. Mpaka sahihi kwa sababu ya ile pesa ilichelewa, serikali yetu ikaona afadhali itusaidie na chakula kwa sababu ya ukame ambao umeendelea.
In other news, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers Secretary General Akelo Misori has expressed interest in the Homa Bay gubernatorial seat. Misori, who has served at Kupet for 21 years, commits to prioritize development in Homa Bay County if elected to succeed Cyprian Owiti in the August 9th election.
Yeah, because I hear ODM has got so many cartels also.
80% of all my people do not have access to clean and reliable water supply. We have a real challenge in the county because we have no basic idea whether to develop the talents because there is runaway unemployment, which has become now a crisis in Homa Bay. People depend solely on the traditional way of doing things. But even looking at the traditional way of doing things, Homa Bay has no option in the first 10 years, especially on looking at whether they can also survive because there is poverty.
At first I thought you were just saying for the sake of.
And now we cross over to Kisumu, where the Law Society of Kenya elections are underway. And remember, the IEBC is conducting the election, which is managed by the society's 7-member election board. Now, we join our reporter, Wycliffe Okech, who has more details. Wycliffe, kindly bring us to speed.
Well, thank you so much, Wambiru, back in Nairobi. We are, of course, coming to you live from the Kisumu Law Courts here in Kisumu, where, as you've rightly put it, the LSK elections is currently underway across all counties, across the country, and the situation is no different from Kisumu County. You understand that this exercise is being overseen by the the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. If my colleague Martin can just pan around, you can see the number of ballot boxes that are actually showing the number of positions are available for contesting. And at this point, Jackie will allow me to engage an official, that is the IEBC official that is in charge of this exercise here in Kisumu. Sir, you're live on KBC Lunchtime News. Probably you can talk to us regarding this exercise, the timing when it started, and the voter turnout so far. Start with your name.
Thank you. I'm called Ken Okungu. This is Kisumu Law Courts polling station code number 10. IEBC is conducting elections on behalf of the Law Society of Kenya. We started at 8 a.m. and this is expected to be over by 5 p.m. in the evening. There are a number of positions that are being contested are 9. Out of 9, 4 of them have multiple choices, as in more than one person will be voted for in those 4 positions. So the positions being voted for today are the Vice President, LSK President, LSK Vice President, LSK Council Member General Member, LSK Council Member Coast Representative, LSK Council Member Nairobi Representative, LSK Council Member Upcountry Representative, LSK Council Member General Member 25 years, female representative to the Judicial Service Commission, and LSK Advocates Disciplinary Tribunal. So those are the positions that are being contested. The voter turnout is at 1 p.m. The number of registered voters in this station are 242. and by 1 p.m., 108 of them had voted, representing 44.63%. Thank you.
And by the time, according to your observation so far, by the time this exercise closes at 5 p.m., do you think maybe the voter turnout should have been have hit the maximum?
It will definitely be more than what we had at 1, but we cannot really predict the level. Cannot really say it will be maximum, but they are still continuing coming in. So by 5 p.m. when we'll be closing, we'll give the final voter turnout as at that time. Yes.
And has the Commission experienced any sort of maybe challenges during this process?
So far, we've not got challenges that can be reported. We have the facilities here for voting. Adequate materials were provided and adequate facilitation for this exercise. We have no really major challenge to report as at now. Yes.
Thank you so much. Jackie, that is the IBC official in charge of this exercise in Kisumu County. Like you've heard him mention that this exercise kicked off at around 8 a.m. and is expected to run through to 5 p.m. And of course, in Kisumu, they will be looking to elect their representative at the LSK Commission, the Kisumu chapter. And of course, we will be reporting and updating our viewers promptly regarding this exercise as it closes at 5. Back to you, Jackie.
Well, thank you so much, Wycliffe Okech, for that update coming live from our Kisumu law courts, whereby the LSK elections are underway. We shall keep you updated as the day progresses. Remember, you can follow more news on our website at kbc.co.ke. For now, we move on. A section of leaders from Garissa County have urged area residents to desist from any violent acts during and after the August general polls. Addressing the press during the launch of the Garissa Multi-Sectoral Coordination and Collaboration Committee, Area County Commissioner Boaz Cherotich added that the committee aims at sensitizing residents on the importance of peaceful election campaigns devoid of violence, among other key issues.
Area County Commissioner Boaz Cherotich appealed to the security agencies to work together with other stakeholders and share information on possible hotspot areas, adding that the committee will draft a binding code of conduct for commitment by all political aspirants in the county to sign as a show of goodwill.
Hii operation ikiendelea, vile vile tutaweza kusensitize hawa bodaboda ili waweze kuelewa namna ya kutii sheria. Na kwa hivyo tutafanya kazi na NTSA pamoja na National Police Service na wale mashirika ambao wanahusika. Na kwa hivyo nyingine wazee ama kamati ilijitolea ni kwamba watasaidia serikali ili kupasha habari kwa polisi kuhusu wale wachambazi ambao wamesumbua wananchi hasa katika mpaka yetu na Somalia.
Tunaambia wale watu ambao wanatafuta viti ya kwamba Garissa sio yenu peke yake, na mtu yoyote ambaye atajaribu kutumia vijana ama kutumia pesa ili kuincite violence itokee, tutakuwa na wewe hapo kwa hapo. Ya mwisho, tutakaa na wale watu wanatafuta viti, tutawaita kwa mkutano kutoka governor, senator, MP, MCS, na kuhakikisha kwamba tutakuwa na code of conduct ya Garissa ya kwamba watadumisha amani.
Kenya Livestock Marketing Council Chair Dubat Ame appealed to every Kenyan to maintain peace during and after elections.
Hatutaki ujangili wa aina yoyote, ikiwa kutoka bodaboda, ikiwa kutoka mahala ingine, ikiwa kutoka Al-Shabaab. Ile assurance ambayo sisi kama elders tunataka kupatia serikali ya kuwa tuko na serikali, tutasupport serikali. Sisi tunataka peaceful election ambaye tukipiga kila mtu anaenda kazi yake.
The committee members consists of key election stakeholders drawn from the security sector, Garissa County Government, IEBC, NGOs, religious organizations, the business community, along with women and youth representatives.
Nyanza Regional Commissioner Magu Mutindika says plans are underway to ensure that roads in the region are upgraded to ease mobility of goods and other essential services in the area. Speaking during an inspection tour to the ongoing road projects in Migori County, Mutindika said that the 41-kilometer Masara-Sori road that links Suna West and Nyatike sub-counties is being upgraded to Class B standards, noting that the project, which was 83% complete, will cost 1.5 billion shillings once completed. He at the same time expressed his happiness that businesses, farming, transportation and social amenities can now be easily accessed thanks to the tarmac road.
The contractor has been directed to come back to the site because right now works have slowed down. And one thing to mention is that during the current administration, the Jubilee administration, there is one thing that we need and we must mention, that the road from Namba to Masara has really opened up Nyatike sub-county, and this is something that we need to be proud of as the government, because that area was locked out because of inaccessibility. But with the opening up of that road, the area is now, majority of the people there can be able to do farming. Transportation and traveling has become very easy because it is tarmac, apart from a few sections here and there.
Now, a section of self-help groups in Nakuru County will be among the first beneficiaries of dairy goats and breeding back for investment courtesy of the East African Sub-Saharan Safe Promotion Foundation. The foundation CEO Julius Kidome said the numerous capacity building trainings already underway will enable group members to get financial and entrepreneurship skills to run their business starting Friday. Selected self-help groups in Bungoma, Meru and Kisii and Kakamega have already completed training on improving their businesses.
Training. After the training, now we want to roll out, and therefore we are starting from 11th of this month at Kerigate, where we are going to empower the first cluster straight away, so that now investment can get into moving.
Mtu achague ule mradi ambao yeye anapenda kufanya. So mtu ufaulu kufanya jambo lile ambalo anapenda. Kwa tumewapa nafasi mtu achague ni biashara gani anataka kufanya. Wale wanaofuga kondoo wa manyoya na wafadhili.
Meanwhile, a section of women in Busia County are urging the locals to embrace women in political leadership. They acknowledge gains made by women over the years, such as contesting for positions instead of waiting to be nominated, but regretted that a few who have succeeded had a Herculean task in overcoming stereotypes that subjugated women.
Kati hizi akina mama wamejitokeza kweli kweli. Ukiingia kwenye biashara, ukiingia kwenye masoko, wanawake ndio wamechukua kipao cha mbele. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuambia hongera sana kina mama, na wakati kama huu hakuna kurudi chini. Kwa hivyo tunajaribu kuomba wanaume wetu watuunge mkono. Tunajaribu kuambia wanaume wetu watupatie support.
Wamama tunafaa tujitokeze sisi wote, tutoke nje, hata kama ni kiketi ya president, mumama anaweza akawa kiongozi. Kama nchi yetu ya jirani, president wetu ni mumama. Mbona Kenya hii tusiweze kuwa wamama?
Wanaume wetu kitambo hakuwa wanataka tufanye biashara. Ati mwanamke akifanya biashara akipata pesa atadharau mwanaume wake. Lakini kwa sasa hivi wameturuhusu tunafanya biashara sisi wamama, tunajua vile tunasomesha watoto, vile wanakula, baba kama hana kitu, mama anatoa.
Unaweza tembea pole pole mkienda. Pole pole.
Well, that brings us to a short break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far. We'll be back with more news.
Being Sports wants it, Free Sports wants it, Ego TV wants it, and the people at home want it.
Who is your new #1 contender?
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back. Now let's proceed. The church has been urged to play an important role of preaching peace as the country heads to the August polls. Speaking during an inauguration ceremony of Peter Barikio Lekeren, who was awarded a doctorate degree in leadership from the University of America, Merrill, AIC church leader Pastor Timothy Lisimalele called on the spiritual leaders to be non-partisan in politics, resisting the temptation of announcing their political affiliation. Lekeren narrated his journey to success, revealing now how he went through a lot of stigma from his peers and even pupils at school. In the inauguration, parents were urged to focus much on the education of their children, who will steer development in the country in the future.
Wadhehebu mbalimbali wawe nitro, wasiingie upande yoyote kwa siasa, waseme tu watangaze tu amani na mtu ajichagulie, kwa sababu kila mtu akona kura yake moja, achague mtu ili anampenda.
Kenya wote mahali popote wako tuweze kuishi kwa amani, tukae kwa amani, kwa sababu tumekaa hapa kwa amani, tumekaa kama ndugu, tumesaidiana bila kuangaliana huyu ni wa kabila hili na huyu ni wa kabila hili.
Nikapata a lot of stigma, nikakatalia na management, nikakataliwa na watu, tena mpaka hata kwetu nyumbani nikakataliwa. Naambiwa tu umekuwa mjinga, unaenda kuchanganyika na kina mama kwa kanisa, unaenda tena kukaa na watoto kwa shule.
Lakini kulea ni honorary.
And now in the political arena, a section of ODM members in Malindi constituency of Kilifi County is up in arms in what it claims there is a plan to give a direct ticket to one of the aspirants in forthcoming nominations for the parliamentary seat. The members are now calling on the party to come clean on the matter.
ODM members from Malindi Town, Kilifi County, said there have been rumors going around that the parliamentary ticket for ODM has been given to Amina Munyazi. The members said ODM top officials clearly stated that the nominations will be free and fair, but wondered why there are reports that the ticket is already in the hands of one aspirant.
Sisi tuko hapa kwa maswali ya rumors zinazoenea huko mitaani tunazozisikia kuwa hii tikiti ya ODM ya mbunge yasemekane mpewa Amina Mnyanzi. Imepewa Amina Mnyanzi kivipi? Tuna wasiwasi sisi, kwa maana tuna wafuasi wetu pia sisi ambao pia tuipigania tikiti.
Tunasikia ODM ikisema nomination itakuwa huru. Ni huru vipi na wengine washajitangaza kwamba wamepawa hiyo kadi? Wamepawa kivipi?
Elsewhere, the Party of National Unity has begun a massive grassroots electorate mobilization campaign in Kajiado County, meant to endear the voters to the party policies ahead of the polls. During a village-to-village voter sensitization in Loitoktok sub-county, the region PNU coordinator Daniel Nina said Azimio gave small parties a chance to gain momentum countrywide.
Ninaenda kijiji kwa kijiji, ninaenda boma kwa boma, nikihamasisha watu pia wakizielewa na wakiziona zera zetu zile tunawauzia. Wale vyama zingine tumeshukuru kwa sababu tumepata nafasi ya kuuza vyama vyetu, kama vile saa hii tunauza PNU tukijua wote watapata uongozi chini ya Azimio.
Meanwhile, a section of leaders from Jubilee Party have embarked on an aggressive campaign to revitalize Jubilee Party ahead of the August polls. Speaking at Kabete, the leaders said they will revamp the party and use it as a vehicle to support the Azimio movement.
Jubilee haina mpango ingine. Jubilee ina mpango ya kupatia viongozi wale watachaguliwa na nyinyi. Hao ndio watapatiwa nyadhifa za uongozi.
Tunaomba na ninaomba hata wale wengine wenye wako kwa chama zingine waache kwenda, mama mwingine hawezi kuwa mamako.
And Bomachoge Borabu parliamentary aspirant Joseph Oino has called for peace along Kisii Transmara West border in Narok County.
Patari, musirete fujo, musitukane mtu, musirete fita, musirete ile maneno ingine yoyote inaleta fita. So na wasi tukiendelea kufanya kampeni ya urahisi ndio tupate haki na ukweli.
Now, in other news, as the Buddha crackdown across the country intensifies, Mwingi West Member of Parliament Charles Nguna is now calling for leniency on Buddha operators. The legislator argues that the country cannot have blanket condemnation on all Buddha operators, noting that training for members on traffic rules is needed to ensure sanitary returns on the roads.
Amid public outrage on the border sector that has attracted the head of state attention, directing a crackdown on rogue border operators, 200 border riders have since been arrested following the Forest Road incident. The move now raising concerns from a section of legislators, with Mwingi West Member of Parliament calling for sobriety in the exercise.
Let us not punish our boys so much, the industry is growing and we need to treat carefully, but the directives which were given by the President, we will support them, but let them be implemented on phases.
Speaking during the launch of grinding of Mwingi West roads at Winzei Market in his constituency, the MP said all border operators ought not to be treated as criminals, but instead offered training on traffic rules and other driving ethics, a move he says would lower the crime levels.
Let us engage ourselves and also the association in terms of cancelling our border riders, and all will be okay. It's an industry that needs to be respected as well.
Meanwhile, Isiolo County Border Association leadership has pleaded with the government to allow its members more time to implement the new guidelines, requiring that all members join associations. Led by Moses Miriti, the head of over 5,000 borders in the region, noted that they have already put in place a disciplinary structure that will help contain any cases of indiscipline by first deregistering rogue riders from the state associations and working closely with the police to take appropriate action against them.
Kama vile sheria imepeanwa by kesho ianze kufanya kazi, tunaomba ya kwamba tupewe muda ya kusukuma kama ni mwezi moja, tuweze kujipanga na wengi wetu wajue umuhimu wa kuwa kwa association. Tuweze kuelezwa na pia tuweze kujiunga, kwa maana tuweze sema kesho kila mtu anaweza kuwa kwa association ili tuweze kuendelea na biashara yetu. Hii biashara yetu ndio inatusaidia kwa familia zetu. Wengi wetu kwa sekta yetu, more than 70% ni watu wako na familia, wako na watoto shule, na ni mambo mengi wanategemea kwa ile boda.
Venye alisema jana, pia yeye alikuwa na hasira, na hasira tunajua ni hasara. Venye alisema jana, hizo masheria zote tuliangalia tukaona almost yote tunaweza fata, lakini venye overall chairman wetu amesema kuna zingine kidogo itatulemea, tulikuwa naomba tu kidogo tu tupatiwe muda tujipange.
They however call on the government authorities to desist from profiling all boda operators across the country as a result of isolated incidences of indiscipline perpetuated by a few criminal elements who disguise themselves as boda operators.
Hiyo sasa hii adhabu ambayo inatushukia sisi wote, tunakuwa na tashwishi kila mtu. Hebu niambie sasa hizi watu milioni zaidi ya milioni 3 boda Kenya mzima wanapokuwa wanafanya shughuli kama hiyo, alafu waambie hao watu wote wakae nyumbani, hizi familia zitaenda wapi?
Sisi wana boda tunaheshimu kazi yetu na tunaipenda kazi yetu. Hatungekubali kitendo kama hiyo itendeke na mwana boda ambaye anaheshimu kazi yake akiwa mahali kama hiyo, kitendo kama hiyo itendeke na angalie kwa macho. So tunaomba serikali isitudhuru sisi wote, kwa sababu saizi sisi wote mumeona uchumi venye kombaya, bei ya kila kitu imeenda juu na tunajikaza. Hii ndo mapato yetu ya kila siku.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Now let's take a look at news making headlines in the business world. Farmers in Tharaka Nithi County are now reaping benefits from the Moringa Banana Irrigation Scheme in Mwimbi, which was started in 2013. The project has helped more than 6,300 farmers to create employment opportunities and sustainable food production for the county. The 1.3 billion shilling project covers 6,350 acres.
The Moringa Banana Irrigation Scheme in Mwimbi Ward of Tharaka Nithi County, commissioned by President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, has turned around the fortune of its member farmers. The project draws water from River Mutunga and has created opportunities for many who trade in vegetables and fruits produced in the project. Project Chairman Dan Sanburia says besides the food and cash crops they grow, the project water has also helped them to grow fodder for high-yielding dairy animals.
Ndio changamoto moja tuko nayo ya watu wakitaka kuongezwa maji. Kwa wengine wakitaka kuingizwa, waongezwe kwa ukulima wa maji. Sababu wengine wako wakijua ukweli maji iko na faida.
Doris Manene, a farmer, said that besides establishing a banana orchard that enables her to produce 500 kilos of fruit a month, the project water has enabled her to produce food vegetables that are enough for her family and the society at large.
Kwa mwezi naona napima kilo 500 na kilo ikiingia na chorros naona napatanga pesa mingi ya kujisaidia na kazi mingi.
Farmers who were hesitant to join the project at first are now lining up to be admitted into the project. The National Irrigation Authority says it's addressing the problems of water scarcity by recommending more water-efficient technologies such as drip irrigation and mulching as one of the short-term measures to mitigate against the water shortages.
Njia sasa ya kuhakikisha hiyo majiriko ambayo unaweza kulima zaidi nayo ni kwenda tu kubadilisha technology, tuende to water saving technologies. Na hata wale wanafanya hii na sprinkler, pia kuna njia kuhifadhi maji by mulching na mambo kama hiyo. Ndio maji isiende sana na uweze kutumia area kubwa kwa kulima.
Yangu tu ni kuhimiza wananchi ya kwamba mradi huu waweke bidii kwa mashamba zao na vijana haswa waweze kujishughulisha na hali ya mambo ya kilimo, kwa sababu hiyo ni njia moja ya kupata ajira.
The authority has recommended the building of dams in Mount Kenya forest that will store water for release to farmers in the dry seasons and has already identified the sites for the dams, which is now waiting for the government approvals to start the developments. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
Now, Kilifi County is the fifth beneficiary of the government, the GoTV's signal expansion program. The launch of the news site offers more local and international entertainment to residents of Kutafiti and surrounding areas.
KBC has commissioned its 5th signal transmission site in Kilifi, targeting over 30,000 households in the county. The launch of the new GoTV site in Kilifi brings to 29 the total number of transmission stations offering a signal coverage of up to 80% across the country. County Governor Amason Kingi called on the company to partner with the county to showcase Kilifi's rich historical nature, sandy beaches and marine parks.
Kwa hivyo bila shaka kuna wengine wetu hapa pia nao watapata ajira ya kutundika ama kuweka vile vifurushi ama vile vipochi vibox vya GoTV katika nyumba za wale ambao wanataka huduma ya GoTV.
Now, the UK Export Finance has provided £113 million of financial support for the Cameroonian government to boost bilateral trade and help UK businesses complete essential roadworks that will unlock the country's economic potential. The new deal will support the expansion of the Douala East Entrance Road, which connects the capital in Cameroon with vital trading ports. Here are the details of these and much more across Africa.
UK trade with Cameroon has increased by 40% as the UK marks the first anniversary of its trade agreement with Cameroon. The new deal will support the expansion of Douala East Entrance Road. The road will connect the capital in Cameroon with vital trading ports. When completed, the expanded road is expected to improve the transport of goods in Cameroon and strengthen economic ties with landlocked neighbors, Chad and the Central African Republic. UK Export Finance has set aside up to €2 billion to support UK exports to Cameroon and can continue backing projects in Cameroon with its financial support. Elsewhere, over 204,000 vulnerable people in drought-affected regions of Mali are to benefit from a $7.1 million climate risk insurance payout by African Risk Capacity through the United Nations World Food Programme. The payout is the first kind in Mali, aiming at providing emergency and resilience-building support to populations vulnerable to the impacts of climate change-induced disasters. With this climate insurance payment, the World Food Programme will provide early food assistance through cash transfers to 161,000 women, men and children affected by climate shocks. Over 20,000 children aged from 6 to 23 months and pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers will receive nutritional support and services. Finally, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is supporting the establishment of a new sector skills council in Egypt, a multi-stakeholder platform aiming at fostering more resilient and inclusive human capital in the hospitality and tourism sector. The lender also launched the Tourism Recovery Assistance Package in partnership with the World Tourism Organization in Egypt. 20,000 employees from the tourism sector will benefit from better training programs and skill development needed to boost a vital local industry severely hit by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Kenya is slowly emerging as a regional electric vehicle powerhouse, with the local roads now witnessing the entry of electric buses, motorbikes, three-wheelers, personal vehicles and taxis. Yesterday, local startup Basigo became the first company in Kenya to launch electric passenger buses, with Kenya Power announcing that it will roll out charging stations for electric vehicles as part of its diversification strategy.
Data from the International Energy Agency shows that in 2021, electric car sales more than doubled around the world to 6.6 million, representing close to 9% of the global car market, tripling EV market shares from 2 years earlier. The IEA report projects that by 2030, 60% of global car sales will be electronic. Various companies have rolled out various electronic units like bikes and taxis. Yesterday, local startup Basigo launched electric passenger buses that will ply various routes in the city.
This is a phenomenal industry that will have a huge impact on the economy while protecting the environment, and its full exploitation will lead to the creation of thousands of jobs.
Kenya Power has also announced that to facilitate the growth of the market, it plans to roll out various charging stations in the country, starting with Nairobi.
To support the development of e-mobility ecosystem, which will include identification of sites for potential charging stations, as well as requisite geomapping software to enable users locate the nearest charging stations as they go about their business seamlessly.
The power retailer says there is potential for new revenues due to enough power to support the e-mobility ecosystem.
We currently have in Kenya an installed capacity of 2,991 megawatts. At night, the demand goes so low to almost half of this available supply, to 1,000, actually less than half, to 1,200 megawatts. This means that there is enough power to support the entire e-mobility ecosystem, including powering charging stations for domestic and business use.
Acting Managing Director Rosemary Oduor says the utility firm is keen to support the growth of electrified motorization in the country by creating an enabling environment for investors in the sector. Kenya is facing the challenge of poor air quality and a high carbon footprint, as most PSVs run on heavy diesel. Basigo says these buses are capable of traveling for 250 kilometers on a single charge and offer USB charging and Wi-Fi connectivity for all passengers, with other innovative uses. It will cost you 5 million shillings plus a daily subscription fee equal to 20 shillings per kilometer, which includes the cost of leasing the battery, nightly charging at a depot, service and maintenance for the electric bus. City Hopper will be deploying the Basigo electric bus on routes between the city centre and Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. East Shuttle plans to deploy the electric bus on the Eastland side of Nairobi. Alan Auko, Lunchtime News.
Now, oil prices have plunged after the United Arab Emirates said it supported increasing production. Brent crude, an international benchmark, fell more than 17% at one point after the statement by the UAE, a member of the powerful oil cartel OPEC. Here are the details and other news across the globe.
The fall follows weeks of skyrocketing prices due to supply disruptions backed by the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. The rising prices have put a financial squeeze on families around the world. World leaders have pledged to try to ease the price pressures for households. Energy prices have been soaring for more than a year amid a rapid rebound in demand for oil, which had collapsed during the pandemic. Oil prices have jumped more than 30% since 24th of February, touching $139 at one point this week before falling back. Oil prices settled down about 12% in US trade at about $112 a barrel. Elsewhere, the International Monetary Fund has approved a $1.5 billion of emergency funding for Ukraine, which is being pummeled by Russian bombs. This comes as the IMF predicts Ukraine will see a deep recession this year. More than 2 million people are estimated to have left the country since the war started 2 weeks ago. Earlier this week, the World Bank approved a $732 million financial package for Ukraine and is planning more economic assistance for the coming months. Earlier this week, the World Bank approved a $732 million financial package for Ukraine and is planning more economic assistance for the coming months. The funds will be disbursed under IMF's rapid financial instruments. This means it will largely come without conditions that are usually placed on borrower countries. Finally, the Russian-Ukraine conflict is ramping up the price of metals used in cars, from aluminum in the bodywork to palladium in catalytic converters to the high-grade nickel in electric vehicle batteries, and drivers are likely to foot the bill. Aluminum and palladium both hit records high on Monday, while nickel, which is also used to make stainless steel, crossed the $100,000 a ton level for the first time ever on Tuesday. Aluminum and palladium both hit records high on Monday, while nickel, which is also used to make stainless steel, crossed the $100 a ton level for the first time ever on Tuesday. The auto industry uses it in catalytic converters for gasoline models or platinum for diesel models, both of which still make up the vast majority of car sales. Palladium prices have been rising for about 6 years, and Russia accounts for about 40% of the global market. While Russia accounts for 5% of global nickel production, it supplies about 20% of the world's high-grade nickel. The metal is used to make batteries for electric vehicles, posing a fresh challenge for car makers already investing billions to move away from combustion engines, just as demand for zero-emission models is starting to take off.
Now, Kenya will phase out the use of diesel vehicles within all national parks and reserves by 2030. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala said this is part of the multi-pronged proposal to help Kenya achieve sustainable tourism. The tourism CS Hafal said that the government will require all tourism facilities in Kenyan parks to adopt renewable energy and circular economy in their operations by 2030.
To combat climate change, African countries are creating synergies with the aim of achieving a carbon-neutral status. The adoption of sustainable tourism seeks to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change and boost tourism within the country. Speaking while at the Masai Mara Game Reserve, Secretary Balala noted that African countries should also take time to create synergies and cooperate in combating climate change in Africa. So far, Kenya has banned the use of plastic bottles and paper bags within the Kenyan national parks and reserves.
I met with the Commissioner for European Union in charge of environment, and we discussed how do we make sure that we mitigate the losses of biodiversity, at the same time address the issue of plastics.
Balala has further said that the ministry will also restore degraded areas in national parks and reserves with a concerted effort on reforestation and increase in marine conservation area network.
Your incredible open landscapes and the quality of the service is something that we're hoping to be able to replicate in Gabon.
Kenya is currently implementing the COP26 declarations on sustainability and climate change that calls for the rollout of climate-friendly policies.
We need to have a strong voice from Africa to fight against illegal wildlife trade, to mitigate against loss of wildlife biodiversity, and to make sure that communities benefit from this resource.
The Embo River Lodge has received global recognition thanks to some of the innovative solutions it has developed to fight against climate change. Kenya is leading the Africa Sustainable Tourism agenda that is geared towards mitigating the loss of biodiversity as well as addressing the issues of plastic pollution in Kenya and the continent. Nduta Mukami for Lunchtime News.
And now in the sports arena, Harambee Stars captain Michael Olunga is expected to bag the Golden Boot accolade as the 2021-2022 Qatar Stars League comes to an end tomorrow. The Al Duhail striker, who leads the scoring charts with 24 goals, will look to add his tally in their final match of the season against Al Ahli Doha at the Al Gharafa Stadium. His closest competitor is Ghanaian captain Ayew. To deny Olunga the Golden Boot, Ayew will need to beat the record for the most goals scored in a single match held by Algerian Baghdad Bonaire since 2018. And Spanish scorer giants Real Madrid produced a stirring comeback at the Bernabeu Stadium, beating Paris Saint-Germain of France 3-1 to reach European Champions League quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Manchester City also qualified for the quarterfinals with a 5-0 aggregate victory over Sporting Lisbon after a goalless draw in the second leg at the Etihad Stadium.
Soon after the break. The one we just saw from the other side, the goal looks offside.
Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for choosing Lunchtime News. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.ke. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Sign language interpreter is Lucy Mora. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.